Noon. So this afternoon, what I'm going to go through is another data analytics case study. So this time we are working with Dazza Beans coffee shop sales. So Dazza Beans has provided me with his coffee shop data set showing all the different transaction IDs and all the different variables in terms of the transaction through to the year, the date and time, the unit price. He's asked me for a bit of some tips about his revenue, what product has contributed the most to his revenue, and what particular stores have made him the most money for his coffee shop. He wants to get a bit of an idea around what products are making him most money and what he really needs to focus on here. So straight into it, just click on the unit price column. We can see down below here that it's 504K that he's made over a 6 month period. Over here, we have the transaction date that was supplied with the data set that DAS supplied me with. Month here can easily be just worked out via a month function equals month and transaction date. That'll come back with a value there between 1 and 12, 1 meaning January, 12 meaning December, which allows you to perform a quick calculation as a data analyst to work out when those sales months were. Now, so coming over here to Dazza Bean's coffee shop sales, this is his live dashboard. So if Dazza wants to uh, amalgamate his data set, so let's say he just pulled this straight out of his Till software and all the different coffee shops that he owns, and he's provided this straight to me. If he wanted to, he could provide me with the next 6 months uh, in another 6 months' time, hypothetically speaking, and I could amalgamate those two data sets, refresh, and refresh the dashboard, and this would update. Okay, so that's a pretty good way for sort of a small business that doesn't want to invest into business intelligence tools that cost a little bit more money, or they only want to look into what's happening with their business, sort of once a month, once every 6 months, 12 months. Whereas business intelligence is really good for the live uh, date aspect with the data. You just put it straight in and you constantly just, automating those Excel processes and it went straight into the dashboard and you're getting those live results. And you can even set different business intelligence tools, automated dates to tell the executive team in the business what's sort of happening in what category. Okay. So, from a business development standpoint, this is really beneficial to any sort of small to large based business. This process with Excel in particular, it's probably more smaller based businesses with kind of, 10 staff, 5 staff, sole traders, people just business owners looking to just get a bit of an idea of what's happening with revenue. Now, coming down here, does give me a couple of different business questions here. So the first one is, what product did we sell the most of in the first 6 months? So you can see here, he just wants total quantity of a particular product category that he sold in the first 6 months. So straight away, coming over here, I can see that he sold 58,416 coffees in that 6 month period across his 3 stores. If I want to break that down for him, if he's got further questions. How do we go in March? I go, okay, mate, we're just going to go over here to March. And then I can sort of go down here and go, okay, well, there was 8,282 in March, 6,349 coffees in Feb, and Jan, 6,791. And if he wants to compare between 2 months, I can select over here by doing a multi-select between Jan and March. So we can sort of see the combined totals there between those 2 months if he felt like they were pretty strong months. So clear that off. If I just want to sort of have a bit of a look down by product type, I can sort of just pinpoint a little bit here and I can do the same here. I can compare between two different product types to see sort of how much he's selling in that particular realm or region. But from this first graph here and this first analysis, I would say to Dazza, look, coffee is selling the most of here in terms of overall quantity, followed by tea and bakery products. And I would probably tell him, we need to look at the revenue, but at first glance, at least, tea and coffee is the bulk of his business. Now, which I'm sure he would agree with, probably a bit of an idea based on levels and ordering and that sort of thing, but it just puts a few numbers to the process. So coming down next to the next graph, we have products sold versus total revenue. His question was, what store location generated the most revenue and the most number of total sales? So looking at these three stores here, we've got Astoria, Hell's Kitchen, and Lower Manhattan. So most amount of revenue as we can see on the graph here, 172K to Hell's Kitchen, closely followed by Astoria. As far as like the quantity of units sold, they're pretty close here. So, quite a strong relationship between the total quantity sold and the total revenue, because you can see that all three totals are pretty close here, and all three quantities of sold are all pretty close. So he can sell more. Obviously, he's going to make more money. If we want to sort of have a bit of a look at that, we can go down to the month. So January, how did we go? Okay, yep. So Storia outperformed Hell's Kitchen in January. In February, and he can sort of say, "Yeah, great job there, guys," to the team on his stand up or his weekly teams call. So all good information to sort of know, how the business is going. Alternatively, you could just sort of talk based on the software in each place and say, "Okay, what did you guys do? What did you guys do? And what did you guys do?" But it is nice to have the information right in front. And we go to March next. So March, again, pretty close. We can just sort of work through his months there. Okay, so if I just want to go chai tea, what's the chai tea revenue generated through these three locations? I can sort of look at that and go, okay, well, Hell's Kitchen really outperforms the other places in terms of selling chai tea. So I need to get some more chai tea products in those particular places. Now, if I'm just looking at clothing, he's selling a few t-shirts or pair of shorts and some flocks or thongs with his product on it. It's sort of go, okay, in Hell's Kitchen, no one's really buying too much. He only sold 24 in the clothing space. However, in Astoria, there was a decent amount of revenue there, or a couple of thousand. So just trying to ensure, and same with Lower Manhattan, just ensuring that his stock levels in the clothing sector are stored and provided in those particular locations and shops. Now, if I want to go to, let's just say like a hot chocolate next, now go, okay, where's the demand for hot chocolate? In what location, what region are customers buying more hot chocolate? So we know that Astoria here is the highest, and then Lower Manhattan's the lowest, and Hell's Kitchen's kind of in between based on the last 6 month period. Has it been like that for all the months? Well, there were some months there that we can sort of break down into, but he just wants an overall glance here, so we'll stick with that. We're looking at pastry. We can come down to pastry, and we know, okay, well, they're all pretty close as far as pastry goes. So got to ensure that efficient diversification of pastries are delivered to all three locations for his business. And he's got a little bit of a bit of a beans business too, where he sells some beans. So um, that would also be worked out by this graph. Now, for the next graph we've got here, he's asked what is the percentage breakdown across products, and what has contributed the most to our total revenue over the last 6 months. So breakdown across products, straight away you can just look at the percentage here on the graph. We know that coffee and tea 35% have made 35% of his total revenue in the last 6 months, and tea has made 25%. So straight away, we know 60% of that 504,000 has come from just selling coffee and tea alone. Um, So, and then the bakery is another 16% based on that. Okay. So I would say to him, these three products and or these three categories is where you really need to focus your attention and push your sales because at the moment that's looking after most of your business. And then these extras, and they're nice to haves. You've got to get these three things 100% right for the sustainability of your business. If we look at here, we can look at the different months. What is coffee's pretty solid the whole month. Okay, he's going each month. It's going really strong in the tea and coffee sector. So that just sort of reinforces my point that I've just made. We can go through the different stores. And once again, tea, coffee, bakery is pretty good. The drinking chocolate aspect is definitely sort of worth noting. At this point, I would be focusing on those three key components to his business. Um, all right, next part we're coming down to, which is the last part here. He's asked what single product is making us the most money. So, what I'm going to go into here is I'm going to touch on the product that he's sort of selling. So we know from one transaction, so the when he sells one item, 322K of his revenue comes from people that just go and buy one single item at his particular coffee shop. So or at his coffee shops. So um, most customers uh, only buy between one or two items. So they either buy a coffee or they buy a coffee and something from a bakery and a snack. So if I'm having a bit of a look at this now and I'm going, okay, one transaction quantity, yep, 32, that just sort of breaks down what's already there. If I want to look at that by location, I can see that 110 and is made through one transaction at the Astoria restaurant, and 60K is made from two transactions. So one transaction is very superior. Looking again here, to 110, 61K, and Lower Manhattan, again, very dominant for one transaction. So if I want to know, okay, coffee, so in coffee alone, Dazza is making 88,000 through one transaction, just selling coffees out of that 500K. So, if we look at that for context, it's probably like 17, just off the top of my head, 17, 18% of his overall revenue just came from customers coming and buying one coffee. So one of the key things to emphasize here is the quality of the coffee because majority of his revenue is people buying one or two coffees. So, there's people coming in buying a single coffee, or two people coming in and buying two coffees. That is a lot of the business here just in coffee alone. Now, I would sort of really try and emphasize that and lastly, we're just looking at sort of coffee bean or bakery and coffee beans. So bakery, um, 79K was made in the bakery. So, trying to build in a little bit more behind what those products are in the bakery, trying to diminish the amount of perishable goods is, going to be advantageous for Dazza in this scenario to lower those expenses and generate profit in his business. And um, that will pretty much conclude it. We'll just go to one more, just drinking chocolate. So there are some people drinking chocolate, but majority focus is on coffee and in the bakery, in addition to tea. So tea, 63K, 61K. So if we're looking at tea, one to two teas being sold makes up 124K. With coffee, we're looking at 170, you know, plus that, that's looking at almost getting up close to 50% of his revenues just selling tea and coffee, one to two transactions at a time. So, just one tea or two coffees. So just really emphasizing the importance of getting that quality, the standard, and that will be where the revenue generation will happen for his business. Thank you for listening in today, and I will see you next time.